Hello again, fellow Gears. What's up? It's Maticon bringing you another Gears 5 video. This one was requested for us to make an engineering tips and tricks while playing Master Horde. Now, I need to mention that while these tips are of course useful, they are by no means the only way one is to engineer, because there's so much difference and uniqueness when it comes to running Engie. So be sure to play to your strengths, be willing to embrace variety, and even be open to possible change for the better. And before we officially begin, I quickly need to mention that for me, when you play Engineer in Master Horde, be sure to bring the Overclock or Global Overclock skill cards when engineering, because you must give your DPS classes the best tools they need to succeed in killing while playing Master Horde. So please always bring your Overclock skill cards to each and every Horde match whenever possible. But now, with that all said, let's do this. Alright, so once you set down your fabricator to where you're going to be setting up your base, the first things that we usually like to buy, for the most part, is a barrier or barriers and then weapons lockers. Now, depending on the map, I like to build about anywhere from 2 to 6 barriers-ish, just to help slow the enemies down a bit, and then I start to quickly build out weapons lockers, because generically, if your killers don't have lockers for ammo regeneration, it's going to be difficult to survive 50 waves of Horde on Master difficulty, especially with the aggressive enemies mutator on. And I always make sure that each and every class, minus Jack of course, has a weapons locker unless they specify that they do not want a locker. Now that you have some barriers and your weapons lockers are upgraded, which can be around waves 10 to 14-ish, this is the time we like to have your entire team start to perk up, because you want your killers to be able to start perking ASAP. However, if you have a tactician class, we have them not deposit so they can start perking immediately, because getting your tactician's explosive resupply perk up is crucial for their bleed damage. And the same thing goes for the Blade Master class. They need to get their melee damage perk up immediately as well, so they can efficiently get bleeding kills right away. Now with your team perking, at this time you can start building out more barriers and even some sentries, if that is you plan on building sentries. Now, depending on the map, I usually prefer to build shock sentries before MG sentries to help enhance the barriers by slowing enemies down. However, if you have a middle unmanned flank spot, you may want to get MG sentries up first, but however, or whichever method you choose, I'm sure it'll work out for you. But again, we like to wait to buy sentries until after you have your barriers and lockers up, because low-level sentries don't really kill much of anything, especially in Master Horde difficulty. Alright, we're going to be talking about barriers now. What you'll notice here is that this enemy loves to shoot at you while they're in cover, snipe you, pick you off one by one. Now, there is a deterrence that you can do to help you with that, and that is put some barriers up against the cover that they're shooting you in. Now, this does not stop them completely from shooting at you in cover, but it is a deterrent. A lot of times what they may do is either walk by the barriers, or as they go into cover to shoot at you, they'll get stuck in the barrier, which will be long enough for you to identify them, pick them off, and eliminate them before they pick you off and down you yourself. It's just a nice quick tip, having barriers and cover for certain situations. Okay, on to vertical barriers and their barrier edges. Vertical barriers work great in a lot of situations. They stop the enemy for longer, they can be easier to maintain or repair, but other times they can be detrimental to your killers and your team. So keep an eye out for when the barrier edges and vertical barriers are hindering your team from getting kills, because their rounds are going into the edges, because obviously we don't want that. You want your killers to kill and not get most of their shots tangled up on barriers in general. So as an engineer, definitely keep an extra eye out for that, just to make sure that you are setting your team up to succeed in every possible way. And also the same thing goes when you have your barriers set up horizontally or across the way here. As you can see, all the barrier posts, it's not very difficult to just line them up. When you do put them out and you upgrade them to 2, help your DPS not get snagged on barrier end posts. It's not very difficult. It's just something easy to keep an eye out for that just makes things a little more efficient in Master Horde, which efficiency is definitely key when getting through 50 waves of Horde, especially if you're playing with some random players, that's for sure. Okay, we're going to move on to shutting down certain entrances into your base from spawn getting through. We're set up here on Icebound on the spawn inside. We have the left spawn, this middle spawn area where they can come at you into your base. We have the window that they can hop over, the doorway here, and then we're going to go up top on the right hand side here of this bridge they can also hop over. right here. So on this right side, you have 3 areas you can get enemies hopping over and getting into your base. You can shut 2 of these down very easily. First, get a level 3 barrier, put it up against the window here, and you want to make sure it is up as close as it can get, both edges to the wall, and that'll stop enemy spawn from hopping over the window. And then the same goes up here on the bridge. You can use a fortification. In this case, we have a level 1 locker. We're going to put up against this cover here, as so. And with those in place, now you've shut down 2 of the 3 right areas that enemies can get at you, so you're filtering them through another way, which can really help work on your runs. And you can test it by trying to hop over the wall there, as I just did. The barrier does not let me hop over it, and we're going to run up here to the bridge. I'm just going to show you the same thing. Going to hop over here, come up to that level 1 locker that we just placed, and I cannot hop over, so you know that it is in a sense working. So the enemies will have to filter through another place in your base, which is really nice and convenient, especially on a big map like Icebound, and all the ways they can filter through at you. So look for opportunities that you can stop enemies from coming in or hopping over cover into your base by using fortifications. Will greatly help your master runs. Keeping with the familiar theme on this engineering video, is take a moment again and look at how your DPS is shooting, and again, find ways to enhance their setup. Please don't be an engineering hindrance and go and slap a couple fortifications right in the way of where they're killing, because that can be very irritating, especially if you're playing Horde with randoms. So keep an eye for that. And then also, like, if you notice here on the front of the base on this map, I have a couple level 4 shock sentries up front. If you're not sure if those are in the DPS's way or the little ears might be in their way, there's a great way to just double check. And what it is go up to your fellow DPSs, your fellow gears, zoom in with a gun, and look and see how they're shooting. And look and see if there's anything in their way. That is huge, because you might not notice something initially, but when you come down here and you may look, you may see, oh man, that might be in their way, and you can adjust it. DPSers will be very happy with you for doing this, basically making their job easier, and it makes the run better overall, so keep an eye out. Now, when it comes to putting your fortifications together close by each other, please remember to space them out. Please don't basically do this and put 2 sentries so close together that you have to wait for them to turn to get through, because if I have to wait, then for me, they are too close together. So please space them out, leave a nice wide enough gap for your players to get through, as so, and it will be greatly appreciated. Please and thank you, thank you. Now, we're going to go over using decoys. Now, a lot of times decoys will help deter some enemies from going after your DPSers, take a little bit of pressure off of them, and they'll go after the decoy instead. So keep an eye out, look for certain places and opportunities to where a decoy can enhance your build, and do take that pressure off your DPS a little bit, so they can concentrate more on killing and less on getting shot. And a lot of enemies will aggro to them. It won't stop all of them, but you'll be amazed at how many enemies will see a decoy and go after them instead of going after your DPS itself, as you can see here with the examples that I've been showing. And another thing that some people may not realize is even sires, they will go after decoys as well sometimes. So it all around works well to enhance your build and your base while engineering. Now, another great tool to have while engineering on boss waves, a great strategy is to have a weapons locker with a cryo cannon ready to freeze the boss, because using the cryo cannon on bosses can make the damage they receive from other sources of DPS do up to triple the normal amount of damage from other players. And you don't really want the boss in your base anyway, so be sure to be ready with a cryo cannon to help that boss get a fresh frozen death whenever possible. That's for sure, definitely. Here is a small quick tip for you that'll help you increase time and productivity, and that is while repairing a tap, you can tap or collect the power from it at the exact same time that you're repairing it. This is highly convenient and means even more efficiency. Yay! And this tip is quite simple. If you have a Jack who has the Optimizer skill card equipped, take care of them by building them a forge early and upgrade it to level 4 as quickly as possible so you can get the maximum amount of power benefit from their Optimizer skill card. Now, if you're playing with a random engineer, give them a chance and watch what they do. Please don't run and buy sentries or other fortifications on the early waves. If they are building up a base, give them a shot and let them build it. Because engineers also obviously get discounts and they have other skill cards that enhance fortifications that they themselves upgrade or purchase. If you truly need something built like another barrier where you are posted up in your match, simply use global chat to ask the engineer to build that for you, because communication is key when it comes to playing Master Horde. And my final tips to y'all out there is, while engineering, be creative, experiment, try different builds, and be sure to always never ever ever forget to have fun. Yes! But with that, that'll wrap up this engineering tips and tricks while playing Horde on Master Difficulty tutorial guide. And as always, enjoy it, everybody. Thank you.